Thank you, Peter. And again, I thought, well, how do I follow that? I think mine will be more in the sort of more pragmatic application in terms of where are we through our own AI journey in Telefónica. I will talk about the intelligent agent that we've been building, which we call Aura, Spanish. It's spelled Aura, but Spanish pronounced Aura because Spanish. It's based on a whole bunch of, let's say, the Microsoft LUI AI frameworks. But before we get there, I'm going to basically talk about really what's the business problem we're trying to solve, and then how we getting there. So effectively, when I arrived, one of the key challenges I had working with our commercial business was that we were very successful, particularly in our O2 business in the UK, but with a very traditional approach to marketing, very campaign and channel driven. We had lots of channels. We had search, we had mobile, pragmatic. Ultimately, it was kind of push, and we sort of perceived best practice was to get to be omni-channel and focused on audiences, mapping customer journeys, getting to cross-channel targeting. But in reality, what we really wanted to get to is a really customer-focused first marketing, being really moving from almost from customers to our the people who we today call customers. Tomorrow we want to call members, who work with us really in terms of an end-to-end life cycle. And clearly, well, say clearly, the challenge for us as a business, as a telecoms business, is I think we have two choices. One is we can either evolve back to being where we came from 20 years ago, being a utility, or we can become something that's more than a utility, because we can deliver something unique to people, because we know where you are, we know what you're doing, and we can offer you more services and more capability that link to you as a member of our family. So that's part of our journey in terms to deliver true end-to-end customer value management. And as part of that, really, we have to deliver a set of capabilities. So through 2018 and into early 2019, I built together a whole business case around what we might call omni-channel decisioning, and that's delivering true next best action, orchestration of not just of the marketing experience, but the entire customer life cycle from, say, from cradle to grave, or from discovery through to leaving our business, but doing that in a way we get true next best offer and next best action in any channel. It involves, particularly then when you actually look at it's one thing to think about in an online context, but then also as you've got multi-channel, how do you make sure that you augment the experience in the front office? So yeah, we've reopened all of our stores. We have nearly 600 in the UK. We want to have intelligent agent and AI augmented conversations to improve the customer experience in store, but not necessarily replace human beings. I don't think we're going for the Amazon experience, but actually, because there is an experience that people want in a store when they're choosing, simplistically, a mobile phone, but then all the accessories, the kind of contract they want. So it's a kind of, as you say, a cognitive experience that brings the best of the human and AI experience. We need advanced analytics to track the journey, and we need to make it unified and personal. Now I've got a couple of slightly more complicated slides, but we're kind of trying to get to what's the before and after. So I would say telecoms hasn't been as advanced as others in terms of its journeys, but the simple brutal truth for us in the kind of telecoms business, and particularly mobile phones and the mobile phone market, has been highly profitable for a long time. Now, though, we've crossed the Rubicon where simply anybody who's here, if you upgrade your phone contract, typically we give you more for less, which is not clearly a great place to be, because suddenly you're no longer in a growth industry, you're in a managed decline. So we need to be in a position where we can actually offer our customers more and offer them in a more timely fashion and join up the entire experience. So the simple path through here is if we look at an analysis that we did of what we call managed service revenue, which some people might know as average revenue per user, or ARPU. And we also look at somebody's net promoter score. And we calculated one of our most profitable segments of our customers, about 700,000 of them, basically on average, every time they were upgrading, we were losing £1 a month in revenue. And we had to look at how do we change the customer journey from, I would say, that original more push marketing, where actually in this example, Jane, who gets the communication from us, it's highly sophisticated, but it's still manually driven. In this experience, you might get an out-of-bundle charge from us in terms of a bill. And because in the old world, our channels are not necessarily connected, our service journeys are not connected to our consumer journeys, we might find that our customer Jane is now actually starting to look at having to look at it in her own way to actually find support and service. And elsewhere, we're unaware of actually the problems that she's been having, which results in us at some point offering her something when actually she's a disengaged and unhappy customer. And actually then at which point she may leave us or actually goes into an Apple store rather than an O2 store to actually buy some headphones. In the new world, we're using advanced analytics and AI, and in Telefónica, we call that fourth platform an Aura. We're actually bringing together much more of a personalized experience across all the channels. If somebody does actually get, as we call it, an out-of-bundle charge, basically maybe they've been done some roaming, not maybe so likely in the current period, but when we get back to travel, we're actually in a position where we can proactively intervene with real-time analytics. If she gets a call, if she has a problem, we can use our Aura intelligent agent to actually help her online journey. We can actually use Aura, which is available on your phone. We're still a voice-based outfit in terms of O2. So we have Aura today. I can speak to her on my phone. But equally, over time, we're bringing that to other channels. So it's not just a handset, but we're very much committed to the voice channel as opposed to the app channel. You can ask questions about your bill. We can actually inform her in terms of the conversations. We actually improve the entire customer journey experience. And that's simplistically what we're trying to do, is really get a complete end-to-end life cycle where we join all of our conversations, we join all of our channels, and at any time that somebody needs an interaction with us, we make an intervention that supports them. If it's somebody who's got a support journey, we can use our intelligent agent to dramatically improve the quality of the service and reduce the number of pointless human interactions or poor human interactions, so that when actually somebody does actually speak to a human, it's a highly informed conversation. If somebody needs to buy something, or we predict somebody needs to buy something, we can make the right interventions. And all this is about, therefore, driving improved revenue and increased net promoter score. So how are we doing that? Well, I talked about it before. Then what we've done is initially 18 months or so ago, we mapped out 30 macro consumer journeys, and we've used that as the kind of effectively to design the prototype and the model office, and then actually start to build out our solution, which we are rolling out and delivering today. It's a virtuous cycle of actually integrated analytics linked to targeting, linked to how the treatments we offer the customer, linked to arbitration in terms of what we're trying to do in terms of value, offer, propensity, and underpinned by data-driven machine learning powered models. So in our old world, where we had reasonably sophisticated models, they were by channel, there was less machine learning, less propensity model, just more sort of traditional rule-based and linear regression-based recommendations. Now we're using machine learning, using the Microsoft LUI technology to actually drive that and augment that with the intelligent agents, so natural language processing, as well as machine learning technology in terms of Aura. So the analytics will give us the orchestration. We get more trending on terms of propositions. And whilst we started with 30 macro human-based journeys, then we start to use machine learning to actually then deal with what is in practice in real world, thousands of actual real different types of journeys with the 25 million odd customers that we actually have. So humans design the macro framework, and we use the machine learning to gradually evolve that and improve the experience. But that doesn't mean to say humans can't intervene at any time, but effectively we're moving from process-centric thinking to data and an analytical-driven reorganization of activities. So the targeting, we're pulling together traditional historical information, traditional predictive information, adding in customer value and context. And the treatment is really then comes down from marketing speaking to what is the engagement we're trying to have with the customer at any particular point in time. Are we having to have a human interaction? Are we having a service journey? Are we in a commercial journey? Are we in a cross-sell journey, upsell journey? That all is arbitrated for us in a fraction of a nanosecond. So rather than a human having to work out what the right conversation to be, the AI models and the analytical models are making the recommendation to a human being to actually of what the customer needs at any particular point in time. And we can have a completely AI-powered journey, but we still favor a human interaction at a point in time in the journey, because that's the kind of organization that we aspire to be. You know, we're very much in the human beings are still very much part of this service, a part of our modus operandi and the way we want to work. But yeah, we are improving our productivity and improving our models and improving the way we drive our customer engagement. And so I've excluded time on this. So I didn't talk about a 10-year model as Edgar did, but effectively, all I can say is that the roadmap here ran from 2018 to 2021. So we are partway through this journey, and we've basically mapped out our journey in terms of AI in 3 dimensions. One around how are we reaching. So you say in the top left, which we've already achieved, is kind of actually getting the funding. Can we demonstrate that this actually works? But have we got the resources? But then actually, what are the channels that we're doing? So we're looking at connecting to Google Virtual Assistant, to Facebook Messenger, to WhatsApp, to connect Aura. So it's not just on my phone as an Aura app in what we call Line 2, but it connects to all the other social and online channels that we might want to interact with. Importantly, in the middle is actually things that will actually generate revenue for us. And they could start with fairly basic activities. So what we've already done is what we call tariff recommenders and device recommenders. So tariff is literally, you know, more and more people are on unlimited tariffs. You get unlimited data and unlimited minutes, but most people aren't. And actually, you want the right recommendation in terms of your use. And actually, regulators want us to basically offer customers the lowest appropriate tariff based on what their usage is and needs. So we're automating more of that in terms of the AI models. And linking to that in terms of device recommendation, so that we can increasingly offer you, many of our customers are dyed-in-the-wool Apple, as we would say, latest and greatest customers. They always want a new iPhone. That's kind of what Apple will do. Likewise, we have a lot in Samsung, but there are clearly any other number of new phones. So we're looking at a recommender model to say, based on this experience, well, actually maybe this Apple customer no longer wants an Apple, and they might take the latest, I would say, a bit Huawei phone, but equally latest Samsung phone, because it's got more of the features they're looking for. And we actually build out a series of models, including what we call bolt-ons. So how much can we add on? Acquisition, and then what's increasingly important for us is accessories and more added value services. So as you imagine in terms of our world, where revenues from just having a mobile phone contract are declining, we need to add in more services like insurance. So if your phone breaks, more accessories. So it's not just in terms of AirPods on an Apple phone, but could be that you want some more media device. If you're an Amazon customer, maybe you're going to take some more Alexa-based devices. So we're not discriminatory here. We'll basically work with all the different vendors. It's kind of a portfolio of recommender models. That's going to drive our volume up. And then also, we're clearly trying to look at our customer service and operating costs. So some of the simplest things that we've already done include obvious things like connecting our knowledge base. So as when somebody is talking to Aura on here, they can connect directly to our knowledge base as a customer service rep would, and probably get as many of their problems solved directly by talking to the phone. And at that point, if they still need support, we can get them to a human. simple things like improving billing support, enhancing usage support, and improving your access to if we've got network problems. And it's a harsh reality that it's still not a perfect network that any of the operators operate, so we still have downtime. And how do you actually get access to all the relevant information to support you? So we have a whole customer service journey leading to our vision of a truly cognitive contact center experience, which is still a series of human being type interactions, but very highly augmented by Aura and our intelligent agent. So we improve the natural language processing. So a human being talking that initially wouldn't know that they're necessarily talking to an intelligent agent. Over time, we'll make it clear, though, that when they do flick from an AI to a human, but our goal here is to then dramatically transform our contact center experience. And today, 20% of our operators are O2 employees in the UK. Remainder come from a variety of partners. So probably in our end-state vision, we'll still have the 20% who are employees, but we will have deflected and reduced dramatically the requirement that we have for third-party contact center support. So we are effectively 18 months, 2 years through this rollout of our experience, and it's a very interesting journey. I think so far, using the Microsoft technology, we are finding that's relatively straightforward. It's not we can get skills in the market to actually, without actually having to play completely through the nose in terms of capability. We've got a lot of reuse where we're sharing models and capabilities with other parts of the Telefónica group. And increasingly, we're trying to improve our natural language processing, which I think that's probably everybody knows who's been on this conference. NLP has improved dramatically. And that will allow us ultimately to dramatically, simplify our organization. I think those of you who were on earlier may have heard from my relative Michael Short of the same name talking about a fluid enterprise. I think for us, we don't in Telefonica use that term, but we actually are very focused on delivering a much more streamlined organization, a simpler organization driven on value to our customers as well as value to our employees. And this model will still be an employee-centric model, still a cognitive, but significantly streamlined, so we are much more productive in terms of the way we operate. Having seen Edgar, I'm not going to try and do a demonstration because it's I think I'm not going to get the same kind of acuity in terms of visuals that Edgar had, but I would encourage you, anybody who is an O2 customer or to visit My O2, and you can actually get the an hour experience. We already have a number of the recommenders already, so the devices, tariffs, accessories, omni-channel experience, and what we've seen is a 100% improvement already in conversion in the time to checkout, and improved net NPS by 20 points when we're using AI to deliver our sales. And for us, it's been fantastic because as an omni-channel business through the COVID crisis, we did have our retail operation down, obviously, for like everybody, for 3 months. Usage of Aura increased 700% during Q2 2020, and that's cost us a negligible amount of money to actually ramp up that usage. It's dramatically improved the experience that we've been able to deliver. So our NPS as a business has basically hardly been impacted over in that quarter of experience, when actually we've only had at one point we only had 10% of our call center capability online. Now we're basically closer back to normal, but the Aura usage is actually maintaining at the same level and continuing to increase, and not just on the app that we've got, but on the other channels, which is a great vote of confidence for us. And conscious of time, but I'll leave you with, we have a whole roadmap of models that we're building, and this is just a snapshot of those. We're probably, as I said, we've got 40 new AI models that we're delivering this year, which we're rolling out both in the, I call it legacy channels, but also then in the AI world. And we're getting, as I said, some fantastic experience in terms of being on, and I call it a living journey. This thing will run and run, but we're getting some really substantial benefits. and we don't see any end to the value that we can deliver over the foreseeable future. So thank you, and open to any questions.